So I want to welcome everyone today to A Cautionary Tale, the undeniable history of osteopathic medicine. I'm honored to be speaking in the Michael Johnson seminar. I'm really happy to be here. You have a beautiful campus, and even this room itself is just a really wonderful place to be able to present. My name is Ben Shure. I'm a former history teacher. As Gipti stated earlier, I work at the Arkansas College of Osteopathic Medicine. If you're unfamiliar, just briefly, doctors of osteopathy, or DOs, train in all the same evidence-based medical practices as MDs. They simply add an extra layer, osteopathic principles and techniques, focused on treating the whole person and helping the body restore itself. I won't be diving into the details of osteopathic principles into this story, but I'd be happy to talk about it afterwards. We'll talk about it just a little bit in the presentation afterwards. The story, like history itself, recognizes major flaws in mainstream medical training and practice of the past. Medicine of the late 1800s was particularly crude and hazardous. Doctors had few effective tools, so they relied on harsh remedies that sometimes they did more harm than good. Common treatments included calomel, which was a mercury compound, it's poisonous, laudanum, which is opium mixed with alcohol, and arsenic tonics. They're all poisonous in large doses, but they were widely prescribed for everything from fevers to stomach aches. Surgery was done without proper anesthesia or antiseptics, and bloodletting and blistering a patient was considered sound medical therapy. However, I'm not denigrating medical doctors in our day at all. Both licensed DOs and MDs are well trained, and their practice is vitally important medical care for our society. Now, that said, I'll continue to tell the story that begins here in Missouri, winds its way through American history, and ends, or it continues rather, in Fort Smith, Arkansas, right in my own backyard. It's part history, part cautionary tale, and it's entirely relevant to how we think about progress, power, and persistence. Into the Kansas legislature. They had followed every acceptable. Who became convinced diseases could be not with drugs, but by correcting what interfered with the body's natural systems from healing. In 1881, President James A. Garfield, it was a surprise as he had been respected even by political opponents. Garfield's story reads like America itself, President Garfield had been born in poverty, raised in a log cabin, became a preacher, a university president by age 26. He was a Civil War general, a congressman, and then finally, President of the United States. He was known for humility, integrity, and his commitment to equality. Garfield championed Reconstruction, fighting to heal the racial wounds left by slavery in the Civil War. His vision was one of reconciliation through civil rights for African Americans while still promoting unity and education nationwide. But Garfield's fate turned tragic. The bullet missed his vital organs. He should have survived. Instead, his doctor, Willard Bliss, rejected Joseph Lister's antiseptic science, probed the wound with unwashed hands for weeks, trying to find the bullet. At least one other doctor pleaded with Dr. Bliss to use science to protect the president from infection, but Bliss had him barred from the room. Inevitably, infection set in. Garfield endured 80 agonizing days before dying of sepsis. A man who may have gone down as one of the greatest presidents in history instead rests in obscurity. His passing robbed the nation of a leader who could have advanced equality and racial healing at a crucial moment in history. He was killed not by an assassin's bullet, but by medicine's refusal to change. A man who might have reshaped the nation, gone. Garfield's death embodies exactly what A.T. Still was fighting against: medicine clinging to tradition even when evidence screamed otherwise. Opposition dogged him there as well. After months of frustration, he moved again, this time to the small town of Kirksville, Missouri. He met the constant resistance with resolve. He was firm because of his experiences of the tragedy of established medicine being practiced, compared to his own scientific findings of a better way to restore people to wholeness. In Kirksville, how did the establishment respond? They laughed. History repeats itself. Leos and the execution, he was and stop spreading disease. American medical Kelly, could you hit escape? Oh, I can go with this. I think I'm gonna have to escape out. I'm sorry. Okay, I think this slide music. Oh, actually, I can just start right back here and we'll be good. I apologize, folks. There we go. She's very reasonable. In 1910, he cured me when all else failed. People noticed. In 1960, he advanced into world war. Roosevelt demanded dealers be admitted to the army. He demonstrated skill. With the military facing a significant shortage, he argued the nation needed every dealers were accepted, and these were necessary. It's a lot more. This pressure is that. They prove themselves. The MD some of the worst physician shortages in America. Rural hospitals close. Families drive hours for care. In the last 20 years, almost 200 rural hospitals and clinics have closed in the United States. And Mississippi, the last state to license DOs in 1973, now suffers the most. History's resistance left scars that still linger there. In the beginning, I alluded to that this story eventually passes significantly through a somewhat obscure historical city called Fort Smith, Arkansas, which I so happen to be born in. The story of Fort Smith's first hospital begins with an accident, one of those sudden, life-altering events that reveal both the fragility of life and the power of community. There was a man named Gerhard. He was working in the bustling railway yard, and he was injured and just left at a boarding house unattended. Worsening by the hour, fate intervened in the form of Reverend George Deegan. He was the priest of St. John's Episcopal Church who discovered the man in dire need of care. He was moved by the situation, and Deegan rallied local merchants along Garrison Avenue, collecting $500, which was a small fortune in those days. With that, he rented a building and opened the doors to St. John's Hospital, planting the seed of organized medical care in the heart of Fort Smith, Arkansas. training not just to heal, but to change history's trajectory for serving the underserved medical needs of our region and our nation. When A.P. Still defied convention, they called him a quack. Today, his vision lives in every DO degree and in every ARCOM student who is training to serve the underserved. Change is slow. Resistance is fierce. But what began in devastating tragedy and was long rejected has now transformed into revolutionary hope. So that's the end of our story. But I'm going to share with you a little bit about our school, about ARCOM. It's the amazing place I get to work, and there are life-changing opportunities for the students that end up becoming a part of our community. So this is a little picture of the Arkansas College of Osteopathic Medicine. This is where Kelly and I work. It's about 6 hours from here, judging by the drive we took today. I love working at that place. Let's see. Uh-oh. Can't see where to exit. Oh, shoot. Ellie, could you hit escape? I don't know why it did that. Okay. So that one. Nope.
Can you just click like you're going to the next slide?
Yeah, I think it's just gonna play the video again.
No, I didn't.
Typically I can do it from the keyboard, but it's not working back here either.
Dude. Jeez. Hit escape again and we'll go to the next slide maybe. Okay. Here we go. Hopefully that won't happen again. Sorry, folks. All right. So why ARCOM? There are a lot of things you can do when you graduate. But if you're interested in medical school, if you're interested in becoming a doctor or occupational therapy, physical therapy, these are some of the reasons that we're going to look at today. Our mission, the mission of ARCOM is, I have a couple words highlighted here. We are dedicated to training compassionate, skilled, and dedicated physicians who are going to serve the underserved. That's what we're passionate about. Yeah, we want smart people because doctors have to be smart people who work really hard. But we also want people who are dedicated to serve the underserved, that are really about community, about others. Part of our fulfilling our mission is the Research Institute and Health and Wellness Center. I don't know if you caught it in the video, but it's the largest osteopathic medical research facility in the nation. It's still growing, it's still developing, I think this last summer, we had space for 48 of our medical students to be hired as research interns. That number's probably going to double next year. And so there are really amazing opportunities for research while you're pursuing medical school. It's also, it's a great place for our community because osteopathic physicians don't just look at disease, they look at the overall wellness of a person, the holistic wellness. We offer a lot of wellness opportunities for people in our community, reaching out to the public schools. I think last year we had over 5,000 fifth graders from a pretty wide area who had come through for wellness programs, education and art programs to learn and to think about how they control their own wellness. Okay, we're gonna try one more video. Hopefully we can get through this one, folks. It's a great video though. Oh, okay, you'll have to escape again. All right, thank you. All right, so our community and wellness initiatives, obviously we have the Research and Wellness Institute, but that's not all that we have. Our students are heavily involved in volunteerism and making a difference. It really doesn't happen from top down, like faculty and staff saying, hey, you guys should do these, volunteer opportunities. Instead, the vast majority of the service that happens from our students comes from within the students. It's the kind of people that we recruit. And we have our RSO groups have so many that I couldn't list them on one slide, opportunities that have come up with to serve the community. We've had incredible medical clinics every year in our community where it's really helping people who are in poverty, people who can't afford and therefore just lack the opportunities to get the care that they need. Our community is part of our mission. So our mission is to serve the underserved. Part of that is being a part of the community that you're involved in. I told you a little bit in the story about the history of how our school came to be. Well, it came out of needs within the community. And so our community is directly tied to our school. So the mission and the community fit together. If you look around the pictures here, there might be one picture that stands out to you like it doesn't fit. If you look at the bottom right, I have a picture of a gas station and a truck. Did you see that one? Yeah, okay. So that one is because there's a story, okay? That's a gas station in this little sort of a township on the edge of Fort Smith, Arkansas. Incidentally, that little township called Barling is right on the edge of where our school is now, but it hadn't been there very long. So a few years ago, ARCOM had just opened our doors and the area around our college wasn't built up. There weren't really any buildings. It's not showing up on Google Maps very well. And we had a student who was coming in, an applicant who was coming in for his interview day to become a student at ARCOM. So he's coming from a big city and he can't find his way around. So he pulls over this little, podunk gas station and he's trying to mess with his maps and feeling a little bit lost. And some guys pull up beside him in a pickup truck. I mean, kind of country boys, okay? They pull up next to him in a pickup truck and he's alarmed. He's like, okay, what's going on? I don't want any trouble. And they're like, well, what you up to, man? And he's nervous. So he's like, oh, nothing. And they're like, no, really, we want to help you. Are you lost? What do you need? And so he explains to them, well, I'm trying to find this medical college out here. He probably thinks he's way, far away from it, out in this little podunk area of town. And then instead of just giving him directions, they're like, oh, well, we know that's down the road here a little bit. So they're like, you just follow us. We'll get in the truck. We'll drive ahead and show you where it is. And so he drives and follows them. They get to the front of our medical school and they honk and wave and go on. And the student, he mentioned it to us because he was shocked. He was like, where I come from, that doesn't happen, but that is just a little anecdotal example of what it's like in our community. People are thrilled to have these students come in and be a part of our community. Now, a lot of students are there and they're there for 2, 3, maybe in 4 years if they do one of the residencies or their clinical rotations right there. Some of them decide to stay in the area because it's actually a beautiful area. It's kind of a hidden gem. But others, they go on. But while they're there, our citizens in our community, we recognize the value that these people are bringing. We recognize that they're not just physicians because they want to get a big paycheck someday. That's a benefit, but they're becoming physicians because they want to help people in need. All right, Kelly, you're going to have to help me exit this one too. It's a pretty cool video. This shows you a little bit about Fort Smith, Arkansas, the place where I was born and live now. So it shows you Fort Smith, although Barling, the little city on the edge, is a little small town. Fort Smith isn't a big city. It's about 85,000, serves a community of about 140,000 there. But Fort Smith itself is a nice place. It's a beautiful city. It's got amazing history, really cool places to hang out, beautiful nature. On top of that, this picture here on the right, that's the park that's on our grounds. That's part of our park. That's part of our campus. A little trail. There's a pavilion. There's a labyrinth prayer garden. As a matter of fact, this is right behind some of our student housing. And our student housing is right on campus as well. We really invest in the community where we're building up. Like, as I said before, all of this school, like 10 years ago, none of it existed. It was all just trees. So the really cool thing about that is our directors, our board had really planned this area out in a really beautiful way. So the housing, the parks, the community, the shops, it all right there together in a very beautiful, beautiful way. We have a great counseling center too. We focus a whole lot on our school on student success. As a matter of fact, when students ask me, hey, what's the best thing? And I get asked this question a lot from prospective students. What's the best thing about your school? What's the best thing? Well, the best thing is our investment in student success. This shows you a little bit of our student community here. Our community is intentional, it's authentic, it's supportive. All right, so just before we go to this slide, any ideas, like this seemed like kind of a dramatic thing happening there with the students? So what happened is that was one of our student affairs workers in our school. Her name's Amanda, and she was changing jobs. Now, she wasn't leaving our school. She was just changing departments in our school. So her normal job, what it had been for the last several years, is working with students, putting on events and things to make our students' lives better. What happened was she's changing departments. She's not going to be working directly with students anymore. And the students knew what was going on and they valued her so much. That was all student organized. She was just coming back from lunch on her last day of work in that department. And that was just a thank you. So they arranged all this together. That's the kind of community and support that they have. They appreciate it from the staff and the faculty, that support they get. And then they really value the people. And that's a direct result of the investment that we pour into our students. On top of the great community, we have a great low cost of living in our area. Fort Smith is a beautiful place to live. ARCOM is a private medical school. Now, as private medical schools go, it's right at the average price. Our tuition is slightly above public medical school. So it's not like we're a really expensive school. But one of the great things to help balance, because it's still going to medical school, which is expensive, is that we have a really low cost of living. So we have student housing on campus, which is very rare. If you're interested in medical school and you're starting to look into it, very few have on-campus housing. We do. It's very nice and it's very affordable. So it's $12,000 a year, sort of the bottom end. If you want to share a room with somebody, you can split that $15,000 a year for not share a room, share an apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment. And like I said, it's all right across the street. It's all new. It's nice, great amenities, campus fitness center, swimming pool, shops and restaurants nearby, coffee shops, all those kind of things. Our school, ARCOM, is right here. Okay, so it's the Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine. That's what I'm here primarily to talk to you about. But our school, Arkansas Colleges of Health Education, that's why it's called AIC. We include other programs. We have a Master of Science in Biomedicine, which is really a bridge program for people wanting to become a doctor. We also have a Master of Public Health, a Doctor of Physical Therapy, and a Doctor of Osteopathic Therapy. If you want information on those, we can help you with that too. So what is osteopathic medicine? The 4 tenets of osteopathic medicine are that the body is a unit. It's all connected, mind, body, and spirit. The body is capable of regulation. If you fix what's wrong, the body can then begin to heal itself. Structure and function. So the way a body is formed is going to make it, if it's repaired, it's going to function correctly. And then rational treatment is based on these principles. As a matter of fact, although DOs are not as common as MDs, right now in the United States, the last several years, the trend is there are more and more DOs being trained. And 1 in 4 medical students is being trained as a DO at this point. Few more differences. I'll skip this one, and if you want to see more, I'm happy to tell you about it back there. So learning resources. Our students experience hands-on training from the first semester. The first year, you're going to get to work with patients. We have standardized patients, which are volunteers from our community, basically acting, following a script that the students learn to have that bedside manner and ask the appropriate questions. We also have a robotic patient simulation lab that's very high tech and really cool. I guess I don't have a picture of one of them in there, but so that's an opportunity for students to work treating patients right away, because those robotic simulated patients, they actually respond to medical treatment. Early clinical experiences right away, first semester, and we have a human anatomy lab. We use evidence-based curriculum. Our student success department is just, it's top notch. They're cutting edge. They're using evidence-based practices to help our students succeed. So they've gone into depth looking at our curriculum, looking at board pass rates, looking at what does it really take for us to make sure that our curriculum is meeting all the needs for students. And then after they have the system right, which we've done a really great job on and major improvements, then they go to one-on-one student success. There are all kinds of opportunities for students to be mentored and advised and tutored so that those students who want to become doctors have that opportunity. And we're not going to let the academic portion get in the way if they're dedicated, because we have a great team to help them pass. We do have board pass rates above national average. Those numbers have been rising like crazy in the last couple of years. And our residency placement rate is 100% the last 3 years running. This is where we do our clinical rotations. The third year of medical school is when you do clinical rotations. And so you'd be stationed at one of those places there. Actually, sometimes you're kind of rotating through a few of them as you do the various clinical practices that you need to do for school. Then the fourth year, these are some of the third year rotations that you would experience as a third year medical student. Making sure you get a broad perspective of practicing medicine. And in the fourth year, you get to be more self-directed on the type of medicine that you think you're going to be practicing. And your fourth year rotations could be anywhere in the United States, and that's student directed. We're not going to ship you off to Montana if you don't want to go to Montana, okay? And they can even be international. So these are all the places where we've had students do international rotations so far. And that list is growing every year as students find a place, or maybe they have distant relatives from some place and they want to have an opportunity to go practice medicine there. They're given those opportunities. Our residency match rates, that's really the goal, right? A medical student coming in, they want to be able to pass their boards and they want to be able to go to a residency so they can become the practicing physician that they dream about in the field they dream about. Well, these are some of the specialties where we've had students placed. All specialties are available to osteopathic physicians, to our physicians. The little map there, it's kind of a hotspot map, shows you where bigger percentages of our students have been placed so far for residency. If you want to go to medical school, that's what Kelly and I are here to talk to you about specifically. There are prerequisites. Your school probably has you working on these prerequisites, and we're happy to talk to you about the details. If you have a question about, hey, would this work or would this work? We have general admission requirements, which we can coach you through all of those things. I do want to point to the image at the bottom, or the last couple points, the class averages. Our average MCAT score, 499 to 501. Our average overall GPA is 3.5. Our average science GPA is just barely below that. Those are our averages. They're not limits. We have students with far above those scores. We have students with below those scores. So all of those are possibilities. This talks about our process a little bit. We do take a holistic approach. We're not just looking for an MCAT score. We're not just looking for a great GPA. As I've said before, we're a mission-focused school. And so what we want to do is make sure that you're as a student, you match up with our school, that you're going to thrive. And we want you to make sure that our school matches up with what you want to become, the type of community you want to be a part of, because again, we want you to succeed. So if you want to be a doctor, we want you to succeed no matter which way you get there. An alternate route into our medical school is our Master of Science in Biomedicine. Our MSB program, as we call it, now is a direct bridge into ARCOM, and that usually is for students that might have a little bit of struggles at some point in their GPA, or their MCAT isn't quite as competitive as we feel like they're going to thrive. They could start off in the MSB program. I interviewed a student last week. His name's Antonio, because he has gone through the MSB program. Now he's a medical student at our school. And this is what he told me. The MSB program really prepares you in terms of the academic readiness that you need to be able to succeed in ARCOM. It provides you with a strong foundational background for all that you're going to need to know. Doing the MSB was by far the best and easiest decision I could have made for my academic career in terms of getting into ARCOM. So our program is not a money-making venture. We don't have this MSB program to try to get a little bit of extra money from students. As a matter of fact, we're not making money on this program. It's 30 credit hours. It's one-year program. They're taught by our same faculty. You're taking anatomy classes alongside the ARCOM students with only $10,000 for tuition. You don't need to take a gap year. If you to like improve your MCAT score, you could jump right in through the MSB program. And here's the cool thing. This just was announced 2 weeks ago after we've analyzed some of the data for success. If you go into the MSB program and you get a 3.2 in the fall semester, then you're automatically guaranteed admission into ARCOM the next year, okay? If you have a B or better, you're guaranteed an interview into ARCOM. And over our past, 98% of MSB students who earn an interview are offered admission. So it's a really great program if you're not quite ready for that leap into medical school. This goes over some of the MSB admissions. We're gonna go through this one. Last slide. If you want to know more about our programs, even if you're interested in PT or OT, Kelly and I'd be happy to talk with you about that. We can connect you with an admissions recruiter for those programs. And overall, I hope that I was able to share with you a neat picture of osteopathic medicine and of our school. And I thank you so much for being here today.